Welcome to another edition of Prime Tips. We're going to call this one a quarantine special. We're going to be talking about shields, shielding, and how shielding works on portals, and how to battle shielding. So we're going to look at shields and links because those are the things that will determine something called mitigation. And then IITC, we'll look at it and look at some examples. So let's look at shields. Shields are rated by a couple of things: mitigation and a hidden attribute that's called stickiness. IITC will show you what that stickiness is. These are determined by the rarity of the shield. So the more rare, the higher mitigation and stickiness. Links in and out of a portal will also increase a portal's mitigation. Now, mitigation is the reduction in damage received from a burster or ultra strike on the portal. For example, if you have a portal that has 50% of real mitigation or mitigation, that's only going to incur about half as much damage as normal. So if you hit it for 100 XM and it's mitigated 50, you're only going to take 50 damage. The portal total mitigation level is capped at 95%, which means you will never have any portals that have more than 95% mitigation that's active. Okay, you might have more, and we'll talk about that later, but only 95% will ever be applied. So what types of shields do you have? You have the common shields, which in about 1 in every 50 items that are dropped are going to be a common shield. The mitigation for that is 30, which means it's going to block off about 30 XM out of 100. Do you have rare shields, which we're looking at there? They're going to be dropped at about 1 in every 500 items that come out of a portal. The mitigation is a little bit higher. It's at 40. And it has a stickiness of 15, which that basically means how much of a chance it has to hang on when it's hit a certain way. We'll get to that in a little bit. You have very rare shields. So about 1 in every 1,500 items that are dropped by the portal network is going to be a very rare shield. That mitigation is 60. And they're going to stick a little bit harder, like 45%. They're going to stay on there. And then you have the Aegis shield. Again, those are fairly rare. About 1 in every 1,500 items dropped are going to be an Aegis shield. The mitigation is 70. So they're going to ward off about 70 out of that blast. The stickiness on those have changed. It used to be higher, but now it's a little bit lower, and it's a variable rate. So you might have some Aegis shields that are going to sticky at 45%, some that go all the way up to 70%. So it gives a little bit of a randomness, so you can't figure out exactly what it is there. So if you have multiple shields and they're attached to a portal, each shield is going to add its full mitigation value to the portal's real mitigation. So let's say I have 2 common shields. Both of them are 30. So I get a total of 60 mitigation. Keep in mind the damage reduction is capped at 95% of the inflicted damage. It's never going to go beyond that. So shields have no effect on the stickiness of other mods attached to the portal. The stickiness only happens to them. Okay. Stickiness is a chance a mod has of staying on the portal when it's hit with a critical hit. And it has to be a critical hit. Rare shields have a 15% chance of staying on. So what that means is if it's a regular hit, it's not going to have that chance of taking that shield off. It has to be a critical hit. Okay, so when you're looking at very rare shields, they have a 45% chance of staying on when hit with a critical hit. Those Aegis shields have a variable rate. So it could be 45% or 70% of staying on that portal when it's hit with a critical hit. And again, it has to be a critical hit for it to strip off. So you don't see it strip off really often. There also is shielding that's provided to portals because of the links. So the more links you have coming into a portal, the greater mitigation you're going to get from what's called link mitigation. So you combine this with the shields to obtain the overall mitigation value. So the mitigation for the first 8 links, you'll notice that as it goes up, the amounts of mitigation goes down and it tapers off pretty quick. So get one link is going to add 16 to the mitigation, 2 links 28, 3 links 37, 4 43, all the way up to 8 links 55 mitigation. And it keeps going up for that from there, but it goes up rather slowly. So low-level agents, if you only have common shields, you can still do a significant protection when you deploy them in multiples on a portal and you use links. For example, if you had 2 common shields on a portal, that gives you 60 mitigation. You have 3 links coming into the portal, that adds another 37 mitigation, and it gives you a total of 97. Now keep in mind that you're never going to get beyond 95. So it's there, but it's all kind of over the top. It's only going to be 95 until something falls off. Then it might go down a little bit. The Mexican is that you can get from link mitigation is 70. But since it drops off so quickly, you have to have 366 links to get that 70 mitigation from links. And again, just remind you that it tops out at 95. So even though you might have a whole bunch of links and shields, you might think, it doesn't really do me good to have those links and do that link mitigation. But keep in mind, it provides more mitigation after those shields are stripped off. So if the chances are that somebody's going to strip the shields, you may want to have a bunch of those links. And another way that you can do that is you can throw on soft bake ultra links, S-bowls, and that increases the total number of outbound links that you can have. So one S-bowl on there is going to be 16 extra links. But that's kind of counterproductive, because if you have 4 S-bowls or soft bake ultra links on that portal, you don't have shields. So it just differs. So what is your best possible protection? Well, it's going to be probably 4 S-bowls and 386 total links. That's going to get you the 95% mitigation as long as those 2 of the S-bowls stay on there. If all the S-bowls are stripped off, you still have the 70% mitigation until, of course, all the links drop off. So that's probably the best way to do it. Keep in mind, there are other ways that you might be able to do that. Now, how do you attack the portals? Well, I would say that your best bet is try to inflict critical hits with ultra strikes. And what that means is you want to be dead center on that portal and then use an ultra strike to attack it. Now, realistically, if you throw an Ada or a Jarvis on it, that's 100% success. It's going to flip that portal. All the links are going to go away, and you own those shields. But we're talking about tearing it down. So stand at dead center, blow those ultra links. The thing about the ultra strikes, the thing about the ultra strikes is they do give you a greater amount of damage. But the big thing for stripping off shields and mods is that they have a higher percentage of critical hits, and it's the critical hit that you're looking for. So if you score a critical hit, those items that have a 0% stickiness are going to be blown off. So if you have a common shield, you get a critical hit, bang, away it's going to go. How do you know if you have a critical hit? If you look carefully at the damage amounts that show up on the resonators or whatever it happens to be hit, if it has an exclamation point in front of it, that means that was a critical strike. It was a critical hit. Now, let's say that you have a critical hit on a rare shield. Then it has a 15% chance of staying on the portal. So you've got an 85% chance of stripping it off if you do the math there. Very rare shields have a 45% chance of staying on that portal if it's a critical hit. And Aegis shields, again, it's a range, 45 to 70%, depending upon that shield and that portal of it staying on. So you might see some Aegis shields that just don't seem to come off, and some that come off fairly easy. And of course, if the resonators are close enough, they may get damage from the Ultra Strike, blast, and weaken. And eventually, if you weaken them enough, that the links are going to drop, and then they lose the link mitigation. Of course, also, if you kill all the resonators, then there's nothing there to to power the portal. All your links drop, all your shields and all your other mods go away. They drop off, and the portal dies, and you can pick it up. So remember, as long as there's power from a resonator, that shield is going to hang on again, unless it's hit with a critical hit and it's stripped off. So by far, your best bet is to blow the shields off using an Ultra Strike at dead center. You could also try to kill off all the resonators around it. So you attack by holding down the button, and you'll see a circle that gets smaller and a sound that goes up. And then you want to let go when that circle's the smallest or the sound is the highest. And that's going to give you an extra charge on that burster, anywhere from 1 to 20%. And that's the added percentage that's going to damage it. So if you're just using bursters, you'll definitely want to charge them up. Do the same thing with an Ultra Strike. Charge it up. Ultra Strikes are a better chance, again, because it's going to have quite a bit more power, and you have the better chance of that critical damage. So if you can't strip the shields off, you might try killing off the resonators one at a time, and then you can get that thing to die. So let's look at a couple examples and see how that works. So here we have one portal, and you'll notice that it has one common shield, and when I look at the shielding information for that, it'll tell me that total shielding is 30, active is 30, there's no excess, and 30 of that comes from the shield. It's pretty straightforward. But let's say that you have one that has a link. So let's look at this guy right here. And you'll notice that two common shields, which is 60, but it's reading 76. So why are we getting 76? Well, you've got one link that's coming in. So you have link mitigation of 16. So the shields are worth 60. The link mitigation is 16. You got a total of 76. So it's fairly well protected. Now, another one down here is a little different in its shielding. You notice that this has a couple of rare shields, and there's a +1 after this. So the two rare shields, 40 apiece. So that gives you a total of 80 mitigation. Then the link comes in for mitigation of 16. So you have a total shielding of 96. Again, there's a cap of 95. So the active mitigation on this portal it's the maximum, it's 95. And there's an excess of 1. So if one of those shields gets stripped off, you would go down to 40 for shielding, 16 for links, granted that the link didn't fall off because you killed resonators. So then you'd be looking at 56. Let's look at one that has a whole bunch of links in it. Get this guy up here. So here we got a couple of very rare portals, and you notice that there's 7 outbound links. So when we look at how this one, the total shielding is 173. Again, the active is 95. You're never going to go beyond the 95. You have an excess of 78. So the two shields are 120, 60 each, and then you have 53 from the links. So if you were to get some good hits with some L8 Ultra Strikes and strip both of those portals shields, very rare portal shields, off, there would still be 53 shielding there in mitigation because of the links. All right, and let's just look at one down here. So here we have 2 Aegis shields, and you'll notice that those Aegis shields giving us 140, way over the top of 95. Again, we've got 53 from links, so 193. Let me see if I can find one that has a little bit more. What about this guy? Looking for one that has 3 Aegis shields in it. There's 2 Aegis, 2 Aegis. But you can kind of see how this works. There we go. Got 3 Aegis shields in it. This has got an extra 163. So the total shielding here is 258. Again, active 95. It's never going to go beyond that. Got 163 beyond that. So if it stripped off one of the Aegis shields, I would still be at 95. If I stripped off 2 of the Aegis shields, I would still be at 95. So this is going to be a very difficult one to take care of because I'm going to have to get rid of 3 Aegis shields, and I still got 48 mitigation from links. So that's shielding. I hope you learned something and you figured out how shielding works, how to battle it. And I hope that I see you in the field sometime soon. Thanks for listening.